to Cattle Call. I have a gorgeous young girl here today. She's a content creator, she's a model, and you guys wouldn't believe it, but she's a mom of 2 babies, 2 kids.
Yep.
And I'm so glad she's here today because I think that her story is going to, I hope, inspire so many people with some of the things that maybe she's been through and things like that. We discussed very little before we got into all this, but I'm so excited that you're here and honored.
I'm excited
So
too.
thank you. Thank you. I want to welcome everybody to meet you. It's Taylee Alexis.
Yeah.
Because that's how you're going to find her on all the handles. It's Taylee Alexis.
TikTok and Instagram.
Yes. I'm going to just kind of dive in, if that's okay.
Yeah,
You just get comfortable, and I want you to always know that this is a safe place for you to just kind of talk. And because really the whole core of this is for you to like tell your story and what you've been through, but also through what you've been through, you're going to be able to help other people kind of like navigate maybe their relationships or their life at your age. Now, how old are you?
I'm 25.
25. Okay.
I feel old.
You're not old.
I feel old because I have 2 kids at 25. Like that.
Yes. So when did you have your kids?
So I was 19 when I got pregnant with my daughter. And then I had my son 10 months ago. So I had him when I was 24.
Wow, you don't look like you just had a kid.
Less than a year ago. Yeah, he's almost 1.
Wow. Well, what can you tell us, like, at the beginning, just who you are, where you come from? She is a model and a content creator, so you guys go check her out on all those things, but tell me about you. Like, who are you? Like, where'd you grow up? Like, your family, those things.
So I grew up. So I was born in Washington State, a small town called Yakima, and then when I was like literally 3 days old, we moved to Idaho, and I was with my mom and my dad down in Idaho until about 4th grade. My parents split when I was 1, but we stayed down in Idaho still, and then in about 4th grade, my mom had moved us to Washington, me and my sister, and my dad stayed behind. I don't know why I'm being so nervous. Can I like think for 1 second?
Yes, sure. You sure can.
I'm so sorry.
You're good. You're fine. No problem. Just breathe for a minute. Just breathe.
So I moved around a lot. I was back and forth between Idaho and Washington. I was born in a small town in Washington called Yakima, and then moved to Washington when I was just a couple days old. So I moved around a lot. And then when I was 19, pregnant with my daughter, my mom got a job opportunity out in Tucson, Arizona. So I headed out that way. I don't know what is going on with me. I don't know if I could do this.
Hey, listen.
I don't know.
Listen, honestly, let me just say this to you. I think because being a spiritual type person, I think that is a place could be of some congestion and trauma in that place.
Yeah, no, it is.
So
for that,
So if that is that place that you feel that way, I would love to let's just keep going.
Yeah,
okay?
I think it is. I have a lot of trauma from my childhood. So like talking about that time of my life, I think you're spot on. That is choking me up.
Yeah. Because I can tell, even when that's why I like to really start out at the core, especially when I don't know you super well and we've chatted and things, but I don't know you, from your childhood and things. I like to know from that because based on just having wisdom and kids and things that I know, then I'm hoping as well as your story helping others, maybe I can help you. So let me just ask you this. Let's just chill.
Okay.
Where do you feel the root is when you are even talking about? Do you feel like it comes from the divorce of parents, the moving
I think
a lot?
it came from my dad leaving. He left when I was around that time when my mom had moved my sister and I out of Idaho. It was because of the abuse I was going through with my dad's current wife. I went through a lot of abuse in my childhood with her. so it's hard even like talking about that time in my life because I think it did affect me going into like my adult years too and my teenage years. So I think talking about that is like my trigger.
Oh,
you know?
yes, that's why you're.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's usually when you know yourself. If you pinpoint that you know yourself. When you get stuck, that's why you're getting stuck, and that's definitely a place to dive deeper in for yourself so you can break free from a lot of that.
For sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. Okay, so where'd you go to high school?
Davis High School. It's in Yakima, Washington.
Okay, so you were in Washington most of that duration, and you stayed with mom?
Yes, my mom's great. I have really great family. My mom and stepdad. My stepdad stepped up and took care of me, but he came in my life to see me when my dad left, so it was really hard for me to like build a relationship with my stepdad because I was so hurt and confused and young too. Yeah. So it was a lot at the time for me.
So when did that happen? When did they divorce?
They
What age were you?
Okay, they divorced when I was 1, and we did like split like a parenting plan. Like I went to my dad and my mom. My dad was a very good dad. He was very active in my life till he got married to the new girl, and she just hated my sister and I. It wasn't that she hated us specifically, it's that she hated that he had a family with someone else. She was very jealous and insecure. So she kind of gave him the option, like, me or your kids. Wow. And she was pregnant with their son. And so she kind of gave him that option, like, either you have a relationship with your son or you choose them, you know?
Wow.
And so he left when I was 9 years old when my dad left. And
you know that has nothing to do with you, right?
100%. It took me a long time to realize that, but yeah. I mean, him and I talk now, we're okay. I think there's still a lot of hurt there though, that I'm trying to get past still. Yeah. But yeah, we're okay now.
Good. That's good. Yeah. So do you feel like you're the father of your daughter when you were 19? Do you still have a relationship at all with him?
No. When I found out I was pregnant, he was on house arrest. He wasn't.
Oh wow. Okay.
He wasn't a very good guy. I mean, we both made a lot of mistakes. Before I got pregnant with my daughter, I was using drugs. I was drinking, partying, kicked out of my house. Like I wasn't even living at home. Which I had a very great family. It was really hard for them to do that, but they kind of were like, I don't know what to do, you know? Yeah. So when I found out I was pregnant with my daughter and my mom, I called her. She was the first one I called, and she told me to come home. She's like, just come home. Like, it's okay. We're going to figure it out. And that day on, I have not touched anything. I've been sober, completely turned my life around at that point.
That's wonderful.
Her dad, though, didn't at all. He was still drinking, partying, and you know, I thought house arrest was going to be good for him because I'm like, well, now he can't like go out. This might be good for him. You know, maybe he'll settle down. I'm pregnant. That wasn't the case. He just brought the party to his house. I'm pregnant. They're living with him, and people are coming in doing coke off the nightstand, and I'm like, so I told him that night. I was like, I'm leaving. Like, you could choose this life or life with us, but I'm done with this, and I'm not going to be around it anymore. So he told me to leave that night, and my mom picked me up, and he was still invited to every single appointment after that, but he never showed up to any of them. Then when I was 7 months pregnant, my mom got a job opportunity in Arizona, and she asked me, do you want to go? And I was like, yes. And I told him, and he was like, okay. Like, he didn't fight it, he didn't care. We left. He was supposed to come out for the birth, didn't show up. Supposed to come visit and see her after she was born, didn't get on the plane. So, I mean, he pops in here and there. They FaceTime maybe once a month, but I mean, he's not really there.
Well, that's his loss.
100%.
On all of it. It's his loss, even if he didn't want to be in your life, to be in hers, because then it'll just be it could be a cycle for her. You know, which about the father stuff.
And that's what's hard for me is because I remember how I felt with my dad and like that hole I had, and I just do not want that for her. And that's why dating since I've had her has been so hard too. Because I'm not just dating to date someone for myself. Like whoever I am with is going to be her father. You know. she doesn't have dad, so I'm very picky.
Mm-hmm. And that's a little bit different dynamic. I know when I
Yeah.
talked in the last episode with Cam, we were discussing stuff out, about love and relationships and things like that. But then after the camera shut off, we were talking about different things and some of the questions I didn't ask. And would he be with someone that, had a child because a single mom is not, they're looking for a partner, but they're not necessarily looking for a dad for their child because they already have a dad. But in your instance, there is no father figure, so the guy would not just love you, but love your children. And I think that is good on your end to have that mindset, but also it's going to take a special guy, and hopefully you hold out for that guy, to come into you and your kid's life. So how old is your baby? Is a year?
He's almost a year.
Almost a year old. Now what about that daddy?
My daughter's dad?
Is he the dad of your...
They're two different dads.
Okay, that's what I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
So, he's not in your life?
My daughter's dad?
The son.
My son's dad is involved.
Okay,
so him and I broke up like 3 weeks before I gave birth.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I broke up with him though.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you feel is the thing that if you go into another relationship, what you're looking for? Like, what do you know now that you didn't know then?
Yeah. I feel like my standards and expectations are extremely high, and I think that is because I have 2 kids that I'm thinking about too, I don't want to be with someone that goes out to bars every single weekend and drinks and drives. Like, I don't like that, and that's kind of what I've been with in the past, and that's like a big no-no for me now. And I feel like now with everything I went through with my son's dad, like, my expectations are just like so extremely high, like maybe too high, that I'm struggling so hard to like connect with anyone. Because anyone I talk to, I'm like, red flag, red flag, red flag. Like, I get the ick so easy. Like, someone will say the littlest thing, and I just can't.
Let me ask you this, but since you're saying that, what age of guy are you?
Okay.
That's
my problem.
Yes, that's probably, you probably need an older, more mature dude that is actually ready to just be in a committed relationship in general. Because I'm just saying, it doesn't matter if you have children or you're a single mom or not. Like, if you are 25 years old, usually the guys that are 25 are really about 20. I mean, mature-wise, and I have 3 sons, so I can say that very,
Yes. They have been, like, not younger than me, but, like, about the same age, the guys I've been with. And that does need to change. I need to go for guys, like, more in their 30s. And that's what I'm looking for, like, now. Like, I want someone older, someone who has a career going and, like, kind of has it together a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What do you think are some of your, like, I guess, what are some of the red flags that you could tell other people, but also what are, like, red flags, like, you're just talking to a guy? Do you, like, I'm just, like, Snapchat.
Yeah.
Do you have Snapchat?
Snapchat got banned. I've had Snapchat in, like, 4 months.
I think Snapchat, though, is kind of like, if you really are wanting a really solid relationship, or with a mature guy, or even girl that, wants to be in one, I don't think Snapchat is the way to go.
Yeah, no, I don't think
And I don't think you can really trust people nowadays to have Snapchat if you're in a relationship. I just think
I had issues with Snapchat.
Yeah, I think most people do. That's not but what is some red flags, like when you first, what's your ick? You were talking about the ick.
Oh my gosh. They just give it to me so easy. Like, oh my gosh. Like, I just get really weird, cringy messages that I'm like, do other girls go through this? Like, do other girls get these messages that I get?
Yeah.
Like, for example, I got a message last week on Hinge from this guy. And I was like, I just asked him, like, what he was up to. And he was like, oh, just laying in bed. I was like, that's cool, like, what are your plans tonight? He was like, well, I'm just watching Netflix right now, rubbing my balls. I'm like,
Yeah, like, come on, dude. That's what
Why would I
wanna know
respond to
about.
that? You know?
Yeah.
What if girls, honestly, that was like their first thing they say to a guy? Like that's.
I don't know. I think some guys, I don't say all, but some guys would be like, oh, yeah? You know? Or some would be like, a mature guy would be turned off if, if a woman went there. I think right off, they'd be like, if they had standards to a degree, they'd be like, no.
Yeah. I think it's also hard for me too because you look at my social media is very deceiving as to who I am as a person. Like, I do OnlyFans and all that, you know, so like, when people see that, they kind of expect me to be a certain way, and I'm not like that at all. Actually, I'm really excited to get out of that industry. Like, probably won't get out of it for probably another year while I finish up school and stuff. But
is that why you got into it? Is it financially helping you get through school?
Mom, to two kids.
Yeah.
It just helps out a lot financially, and I'm trying to get through school, and I don't want to like work full time and be away from my kids. Like, it's been easier, like, financially.
Let me ask you, see, I know about OnlyFans, and I know certain do OnlyFans so they can, like, make a living, whatever. How did you get started? Like, what made you think, I need to do this?
If I'm being honest, when I was, like, this is so bad, but I was not a good teenager. So when I was, like, 15, I kind of started selling, like, pictures to, like, guys and stuff, like at a really young age. So it's kind of like, I don't know, I kind of knew that when I was really young. And when I got older and OnlyFans became a thing, I was like, oh, I can make so much money on there, you know?
Yeah.
So it's kind of something I started when I was young, and then it just happened.
I know you say you want to do it for another year, but let me ask you this. Do you feel, and this is not something like, this is who I am as a person, so I definitely want to help you in any way, but do you feel you have a relationship with like God?
I'm very Christian, and that's where OnlyFans, I know that's super controversial, like being a Christian and doing OnlyFans, and I have a lot to talk about with that.
Please do, because the reason why I asked you is because my question leading to that is, do you not feel God can supply what you need and not like the world or man with that? And when you opened that up, I want you to talk more about that.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. So when I was pregnant with my son, I obviously quit OnlyFans, and I got really close to God. Like, I was going to church, I was serving at my church, I got baptized. That was like the happiest I've ever been in my life. I also was like living at home with my mom, so I didn't have any bills either. So it was really easy for me to, you know, not do that because I didn't have all these bills or anything. I was going to church consistently, serving. I felt so close to God. And then I have my son, and can we take a pause?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so you said after you had your son, and you hadn't had OnlyFans, and then while you were pregnant, do you feel after you had your son, you said that you broke up with the father of your son 3 weeks prior to giving birth. Can you tell me a little bit about that relationship with him and why you found yourself, like, obviously you were in church and stuff. Was there something that, like, God was, like, telling you about him? Like, what was up with that?
And then I got pregnant, got back together, it was off and on. We got back together towards the end. I got baptized, and we broke up after that. Like, it's okay. It's just all over.
So why do you feel like after you had your son, was you in like a postpartum? Was you in depression?
Yeah.
Did you feel alone? Like, when did you go back into OnlyFans?
Yeah. So I went back into OnlyFans probably 2 months after having my son. I was living with my mom, and she has a nice house, but it's really small, you know, so I was sharing a room with me, my daughter, and my son, and I was just ready to get out on my own again. So I wasn't ready to put him in daycare either and go work a normal job because he was so little.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what steered me back to OnlyFans. And it's such easy, quick money. Like, it's really hard to get completely out of that industry because you see how easy and quick the money is.
Do you feel like it's part of not just money, or is it just money, or is it money and maybe acceptance that you we're getting as well. Like, people like me here. I'm getting, attention on this side. Is that have anything to do with it, or is just
I
financial?
don't really feel like that's fully it, because I know right now I would 100% be okay stopping if I was like financially free. I wouldn't. I don't need that acceptance from men anymore. I used to be like that, but I feel like I've come a long way.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Yeah. So, you tell me about the baby daddy, if you want to.
My son's dad?
Yeah, your
Okay.
son's dad, because you want to talk about that. So I
Yeah.
definitely, tell us that.
Yeah. Okay, that's a long story, but I'll keep it short. So we met 3 years ago, and he wanted to stay in the talking stage like forever, and I was like,
Well, obviously you moved past that. You got a baby.
Yeah. This was before the baby, so we were like in
Yeah.
the talking stage for too long, and then he totaled his car, got kicked out of his house, and then after that he was like, oh, I'm ready to be together. And like then I didn't think anything about it, but like now I'm like, the timing of that was kind of weird, because then he moved in with me like almost instantly.
Oh, okay.
And so I felt like he was like, okay, I'm ready, because he had nowhere to go, So he moved in with me. He had no car, so I was like driving him to and from work every day. We dated for about 8 months at this point, and then he got his car fixed. And the day he got his car fixed, he broke up with me. So like after that, I was like, oh, you're so dumb. Like he lost everything, and then he wanted you, And then now he has it, and now he's gone. You know what I mean? So I felt used. And then like a month and a half goes by. We're still like, I was so devastated. Like I was heartbroken. I was so in love with him. I don't know why, but I was. And
Because you have you created a soul tie with him for one, and then everybody goes through this, so don't think you're alone. People go through these things. I have a daughter who's gone through some similar situations, and she has a child and been up and down and all around. So don't ever feel like you're alone. I get it as her mom, as a perspective. I get that. So just know here you're not judged. We're just talking about it to help you through it, and maybe other people that are going through it. So don't ever feel the pressure of any of it, okay?
Like the time of my life was like the worst. Like I was in such a dark spot, so it's like triggering talking about it. But I want to talk about it because I want to help other people who might be going through similar things, But so he broke up with me, and then about a month and a half later was when I found out I was pregnant. So that took a huge turn. Obviously, I told him. He wasn't very happy about it. He didn't want me going through with it at first. My pregnancy was really, really horrible. Just depression-wise, I felt so alone. Like I lost everyone. I had no friends. I couldn't go out. I stopped doing OnlyFans. I couldn't afford, where I was living and stuff. So I moved back in with my mom, and it just felt really dark and lonely. Him and I tried to get back together for my first trimester for like 2 months maybe, and he was just still going out all the time, going out to Twin Peaks and like,
being a boy,
being a
young
boy,
man,
and like drinking and driving. I don't like drinking or driving.
No.
I don't like that at all. I was over all that,
Well, you're a mom, and you think differently too about it.
Sure. And I felt like when we were together in the past, I didn't really have a say in much like he did, because like I did OnlyFans, I felt like I had to tolerate disrespect in relationships because of what I did for a living, so I felt like I didn't really have much of a leg to stand on with a lot of the things that he did do, because I do OnlyFans, like that would always come back,
And honestly, that's definitely manipulative on his end, but also there is something in that you felt not worthy enough, and that you were going to tolerate that. Do you feel like going into a new relationship, if you were to find a guy, and you were to live still on your own with your children and you're dating or whatever, do you feel, and you said you want to not do that anymore, but do you feel you would know those triggers if a guy started to use that, well, you do this, so why don't you this?
Definitely.
Like you say, guys automatically assume you're
Yeah.
because you're doing OnlyFans.
Yeah.
So do you feel like now you're more aware of your own worth
100%.
and what you want for your kids that you would
absolutely
forget you, dude?
Yeah.
Good.
We broke up like 2 months into it. I was just like, I can't, you know, you need to get it together. It's time to grow up. So we broke up for about 4 months, and I was just really in a dark spot, and I still wanted to like hang out with him. Like, he was my only friend, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't have anyone else, and I'm pregnant. I can't go do anything, you know. And he was out partying, hooking up with other girls, and it just like destroyed me. Like, my whole pregnancy was so dark. I don't know how I would have gone through it without like my best friend. She lives in Washington though, but she helped me through all of it. I'd call her all the time, just crying, and she listened.
Do you remember a lot of your pregnancy, or was the
No,
trauma?
the trauma,
kinda
like even talking about
blacked
it,
it
like
all
kinda
out?
chokes me up, and there's a lot of trauma with that.
Yeah,
For sure.
because that's normal too.
Yeah.
That happens if a guy, and I hope some guys are going to listen to this. Guys will. It's like, I got her, she's pregnant.
Yeah.
I got her in the bag. So now I'm going to go do this, and this. Where's she going to go?
Exactly.
Who's going to want her?
I had so many times my best friend. I was
Exactly.
like, he knows where I'm at. I'm at home in bed sick, like by myself, taking care of myself. He knows I'm not out dating. I'm not doing nothing.
Right.
Like, he got me right where he wanted me.
Yes.
Like even talking
Blacked
about it,
it
like
all
kind of
out.
chokes me up, and there's a lot of trauma with that.
Yeah. Like, I think that's why God sets up like this alignment of you date and court each other, and then you get engaged, get married, whatever, and then you start having children, because there's none of those questions. Once you're married, is this guy gonna stay?
Yeah.
Is this working? Is he gonna leave me? You know?
Yeah.
And that's why I think the value system of how God kind of set that alignment up, it's not as difficult for us when we already have that in place to not having it in place.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. It does.
Do you feel like the next guy is going to be like, I want to be married to you before we even like try to have children and
Yes.
yada yada?
I refuse to get pregnant again by someone I'm not married to.
Yeah.
I've gone through it alone twice, and I just
That's
will not do
good.
that again.
Because you should not be. Pregnancy is the most beautiful thing, and a woman goes through so much emotions during those times. They're up and down, and then for the man that is the father of your child not like embracing you and loving you through that time, because you need reassurance on a constant basis, because you're going through all these different changes.
Hormones are everywhere.
But that's why I think it takes maturity too, for a man to be mature and a woman to, have children together too, because you need that guy to be emotionally mature and financially mature and everything to care for you and your child. Yeah. And not make you feel like crap during the whole pregnancy. Yeah.
Probably 6 months pregnant. We hung out one night and we were talking, and we decided to try to work things out. And at that point, I'm like, okay, I really want to see more of a relationship progress between him and my daughter, especially before the baby's here, because I don't want her feeling like, oh, I'm a stepchild,
Yeah.
And I feel like when we did get back together, like I did see a switch in him, like he really was dedicated and like wanted to be with me. I feel like for like those first 2 weeks, I was like the happiest I ever felt with him, like even prior, which was weird because there was so much anger, so much resentment, but for some reason for those 2 weeks, like I didn't even think about that. I was just like so happy and so in love again.
Yeah.
So my expectations of him were becoming more like, okay, my daughter doesn't have a dad. We have a baby coming. How's she gonna feel? I don't want her to feel separate or different than he does, you know. So I just didn't see him trying to build a relationship with her. In any future plans he had for our son, like, my daughter was never involved in those conversations. And that was like, I can't do that, you know. Like, he was talking about setting up a college fund for our son, and I'm like, okay, what about Allie? Like, would we both do that for her too, you know? And like, it just was never a thing. And so that's why, like, 3 weeks before I had my son, no matter like how much I wanted things to work out with my son's dad, I was like, I can't have her feel less. I can't.
I love that.
You know?
I love that about you, that you're thinking that way. That's good.
It was a hard decision though. Well, it wasn't. I definitely am always going to put her feelings first, but then at the same time, it's like my son is going to have 2 homes, you know? It's like 2 child's feelings, like, you know, that I have to keep in consideration.
Yeah. I can understand why you're so protective of her.
Yeah.
In the whole situation with an absent dad in her life. I get that. But I hope you know that you just, like, because us sitting down, you know, I kind of got a perspective of who you were just watching your stuff, but we really don't know people, like you said, from social media to who they really are when we sit down. And you are definitely, you know, sharing, like, your true self and who you are to your core. And I want you to know that I think you have a lot of strength, so much strength, whether you realize it or not. You are like a very strong young lady, and I know life circumstances have had to make you that way,
for sure,
but you got a good head on your shoulders, and I hope that the guy that you meet next is like so good to you, and that you vet him and vet him and vet him, that you know that he is the guy before you even give him, you know, a chance to walk into your heart, because
for sure
you've gone through a lot. I'm going to ask you a few more questions here, and then we're just going to kind of go into some lighthearted stuff, like random questions and stuff. What is your type of man? What is the guy that you're looking for now in your life?
I feel like my type has changed so much,
bet.
because like now I want a man. Like I want someone older, more mature, someone who has a career going, someone who doesn't go out and drink and party all the time. And I mean, that's what I've gone for in the past, is like partiers and good looking guys. You know, I don't care about that anymore. Like, just treat me good, take me on dates. I mean, my ex never took me on dates, like, ever. So that's a big thing for me too. Like, I want to be taken out. I want to be shown off. Like,
you need to be pursued. Women want that to be pursued.
I don't want to date someone where I feel hidden. Like, I want to be with someone whose family is interested in, like, getting to know me and have a relationship with me. That I struggle a lot with my son's family. They just did not like me from the start because of what I did for a living. So that was hard, especially when I got pregnant. You know, like, I wanted to get to know them and have a relationship, but they just had no interest. I get it on their end, but it's frustrating because I felt like I didn't even get a chance. Like, and I feel like if they really sat down and got to know me, like, they would be like, oh, she's really not what she puts out there. Like, I'm completely different, you know? You know, I don't drink, I don't party, I don't go out. Like, I'm a mom. That's what I am. And I'm a good mom, you know? And I just don't feel like I was given that shot, you know? And it felt very hypocritical, kind of. I mean, they go out to Twin Peaks, you know, they're supporting the same industry that I have worked in.
They just don't want their son with the person that they support. I get it. So, you said that he has a relationship with your son, so does he see him and things like that?
He's been there in my son's life since birth, which is good.
That's good.
We have a parenting plan, so he, like, goes to his dad every Wednesday, every other weekend. So.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean, he's shown up for our son, but what's crazy is when I was 20 weeks pregnant, I found out he had another kid that I had no idea about.
Like, another girl was pregnant with his child at the same time you were pregnant with his child?
She just had the baby when him and I first started dating. So that kid, I think, is like 2 years old right now.
Oh, wow.
So when I found out about that, I confronted him, you know, he never denied it, and he admitted it, you know.
Yeah.
And he has no reason on to why he doesn't want to be a part of that kid's life. He didn't date the mom, so I think he thinks it's different. Like,
but it's not. That child needs a dad too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and me and that mom talk, and we've talked about like hanging out and getting the kids together. I mean, my son has a brother.
That's right.
You know.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, because.
But at the same time, like I get her side. Like she was open to it at first, and then she was like, you know, I've sat and thought about it, and I don't know how I feel. You know, I don't want my son growing up and feeling like
my brother wants to spend
Yeah.
time with dad, but dad doesn't want to spend time with me.
Mhm.
I get that.
Yeah.
I could understand that on her.
So
It's
I get
protecting
it.
her child.
Yeah. I mean, I respect it 100%.
And maybe later in life,
Yeah.
they'll know about each other and they
They will.
can decide
Mhm.
that they want to spend time.
That's what I told my son dad. I said, you can't hide from it forever. It's
Yeah.
gonna come up. You know, down the road, that kid's gonna grow up and want to know about you.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah, that's so heartbreaking.
yeah, that hurt me really bad. I was
Yeah.
like, especially having my daughter who didn't have a dad, I have a very,
Mm-hmm.
I don't like deadbeat dads.
Yeah.
I don't like it. That's how my daughter's dad was. And I just felt, I talked about it all the time too. Like, I don't understand how he doesn't want to be a part of the life. Like, I don't understand.
I think
Oh,
it
dad,
takes
do
certain
that.
type of people
Yeah.
to do that as well because,
Mhm.
and I'm not tooting my own horn. It's just it takes a specific type of person. But like my youngest son is adopted, and we adopted him from birth.
Yeah.
And I literally, you could not tell me I didn't carry him and have him because. He is 1,000% as much of me and my husband as my biological children. And, you know, he may not have been the type of person that is, he just doesn't have it in him.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Just to have grace for him to
Yeah.
understand, like, how can I love this kid? This isn't my child,
Mhm.
you know, but I can
Yeah.
love my kid. You know, sometimes
Mhm.
some people do not have that in them,
Yeah.
and some do, and you
Yeah.
just need to find the one that does
Yeah.
have that in them, you know, and wants to go, I want to adopt her, and
Yeah.
I want her to be my daughter,
Yeah.
you know.
And I won't settle for less than that.
That's good.
So I feel like I'll be single for a while because
Yeah.
there's not many men out there willing to do that. You
Well,
know.
hopefully after this podcast, the good men will hit you up.
Let's
Hit her
hope
up.
so.
More children.
Surprisingly, I do.
Okay.
Considering what I've gone through, you would think I'd be like, no. But I do. I want to go through it the right way. You know, I want to
Yeah.
experience pregnancy with someone who is in love with me and who I'm married to. You know, it's a really beautiful thing. You know,
Yeah.
and I never got to experience it the way I dreamed of.
And well, let me ask you some lighthearted questions, and then I have a couple questions that come from. That's okay. You can leave it. We're not really strangers. It's a game. It's called Not
Okay.
Really Strangers, and I'll ask you a few from this.
Okay.
But let me see. I have a few that I wrote down.
Alright.
Okay. The craziest thing you've been sent through a DM.
Oh gosh. Someone
Something.
offered me $1,000 to dip my toes in jelly and like lick it off my own toes.
Oh my god. I would ask the second question to that, but I won't.
Okay.
If you did it or not, but I won't. I'm not going to ask you. I'm not going to ask.
I mean, $1,000. $1,000. Just kidding.
The best decision that you feel like to date you've ever made.
Putting my daughter first in a hard situation, for sure.
I love that answer.
Mhm.
I think that is a good decision.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you've been pushed into that decision,
Yeah.
but I think that's a good decision. If you could describe who you are today, how would you do that? Like if somebody said, "Who is Taylee?"
Yeah.
How would you describe yourself to someone else?
Good mom. Independent, strong. I feel like I'm very strong with everything I've gone through.
Absolutely. I want you, now the episode before Cam is
Uh-huh.
called Darling, Love Yourself. It is about understanding your own worth and a foundation for you. And I wanted to do that because I wanted to lay a foundation. So when we went into this love series, that females and males could go through like some exercises to understand. And one of those, I would love for you to listen to it for you.
Okay.
Because I really feel like it would be very beneficial for you to hear that and go through some of those exercises. But one of those is you doing something for you. Even when you're a mom,
it's hard.
you know, even if you're already married, if you are a single person, before even you get in a relationship, what do you do for you? And on a weekly basis, practicing that.
I feel like since becoming a mom, it's like I don't know who I am outside of being a mom. You know what I mean?
Yes, and we get caught up in that, and we think that we do not either deserve to have that time, but I think when you can go into something, even if it's a couple days a week, or if you know in the morning before the kids wake up, like I am going to set aside time to just like journal, have a good cup of coffee or tea or something for myself, and just pray or read a devotional. That is time I've set aside every day for myself that I deserve, and then it can refresh you so you can be the better person for the people in your life. But you need that and you deserve it.
I do.
Who is your favorite person to watch on social media and like inspires you, and you like, I just love watching their TikToks because that's who I go to all the time? Like, who would that be?
Okay, I don't know if you know like Kristen Whitman.
She's pregnant right now.
Yeah,
we're friends. We are friends on TikTok.
So I've watched her since like before she was ever even big.
Yes.
So I don't know, just watching her whole kind of like life develop and like where she is now, like I feel like she's really grown up since she's been pregnant. Like she's come a long way.
And that,
I mean, they're having a reality TV show, I believe, is what I was seeing, but. I mean, there's just been so much drama in that kind of reels people in, you know? So I've like seen it all for the 4 years and just seeing like all that and the relationship she's gone through into who she is now.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a couple questions from We're Not Really Strangers.
Okay.
And then this will be it. Okay, we'll wrap it up. Okay. Do you think that you were popular in school? No?
Well, middle school and elementary, I got picked on really bad. I got bullied really, really bad. Come high school, I dropped out freshman year, so I didn't really have the chance to.
Did you drop out because of the bullying?
Yeah,
Wow.
I did. I got beat up really bad freshman year, like really bad, and I just didn't go back after that.
Wow. That's so, I hate that.
Yeah.
Well, that tells me a lot too on what you've gone through. Have you ever been fired from a job? If so, what for?
Yes, I did get fired from a job. But, okay, so when I was 16, I moved down with my dad in Idaho. And his ex-wife did not like me. And I got a job at this frozen yogurt place. And she knew about this, like, frozen yogurt place. She knew the owner, which I didn't know about. But she sent in some, like, old pictures that I've posted on, like, Twitter, Snapchat, and me, like, drinking and doing not legal things. So I did get fired. She didn't say that was the reason, but I ended up finding out that was the reasoning for why I got fired.
You can't work in an ice cream shop and do that, I guess. Good grief. She sounds like a real nice winner there. I'm sorry. That tells me a lot about what you got. Went through. Wow. What is the last thing that you lied to your mother about?
Last thing I lied to my mother about. Probably
Sorry, Mom.
Sorry, Mom.
Don't listen, Mom, right now.
I don't lie to her about anything. I have nothing to lie to her about.
Yeah, I think when you get to your age, you don't. But these were some in that card, you know, that's kind of general, that's not too deep. Okay, this is the last question. What has this conversation, if at all, taught you?
A lot, actually, if I'm
Really?
being honest. I think I've gotten choked up in a lot of, like, things, certain things, like talking about my pregnancy or, like, my childhood. I get super choked up and I get blank and I can't even think. And And I think there's a lot of trauma that I need to dig into.
Yeah,
and figure out. Like, I need to figure that part out of me.
Like, let God take that.
Yeah.
And without going all into that, but
I think coming here was for a reason, because I think there is a lot of stuff that I'm not healed from that I didn't really realize until I came on here.
Yeah. Because when you start to have to go back to those places, those are the hardest places.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like you were supposed to be here for a reason too.
I do too.
And it's so crazy because I was looking at everybody I have written down about scheduling and all that, and your name is on there. And I was like, I just feel like I need to reach out to her and see, even though I don't know a lot about her, this is what this is about.
Yeah.
And then I just really felt the pull that you were supposed to be here. I'm so
I feel like
glad.
God brought me here for a reason. Yeah, I needed that. I feel like there was a lot that I wanted to talk about, but I got so choked up that I just couldn't, and I think that's something I need to dig into for sure.
Well, I'm glad you're here.
Me too.
I'm glad.
I'm glad.
Well, I'm glad you're here.
Me too.
I'm glad.
I'm glad you're here.
Well, thank you for being here. I'm so honored. And guys, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you learned a lot. I hope it's helped you get free and some other people get free and learn about relationships and maybe some things to do and don't. But thank you guys for joining us. See you again. Blessings.
Thank you.